According to the Internet Movie Database, imdb.com, in Venom: Let There Be Carnage, Tom Hardy returns to the big screen as the lethal protector, Venom, one of Marvel's greatest and most complex characters. Directed by Andy Serkis, the film also stars Michelle Williams, Naomi Harris, and Woody Harrelson in the role of the villain Cletus Cassidy, or Carnage. So today, we're looking at Venom 2 Runtime Revealed, and it's the shortest Marvel movie so far. Trust us, you don't want to miss this. First up, we'll discuss Venom: Let There Be Carnage's relatively brief runtime. The action-packed film will run a total of 90 minutes long, and while that may seem a little short for such a big-budget Hollywood blockbuster, 90 minutes is actually a fairly standard runtime for a feature-length film. With that said, we're fairly certain that it'll be an intense 90 minutes that you won't soon forget. This hotly anticipated film is scheduled for release in North America on the 1st of October 2021, and millions of die-hard Venom fans around the world can barely contain their excitement. At just 90 minutes, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, aka Venom 2, will be Marvel's shortest film ever. The only film in the Marvel universe to have a similar runtime is Marvel's X-Men: The New Mutants from 2020, which was a total of 94 minutes. X-Men: The New Mutants is also considered one of Marvel's worst ever flops. The PG-13 film has an IMDb rating of 5.3 out of 10 from almost 70,000 user votes. Hopefully, Venom: Let There Be Carnage fares a little bit better, and we have every reason to believe that it will. Next up, we'll discuss some of the faces you can expect to see in Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Without spoiling too much of the film, we'll give you a small sneak peek inside this new film. You can expect to see Tom Hardy reprise his role as the character Eddie Brock, who struggles to live and cope with Venom living inside of him. As you'll recall from the first Venom film, living with such a beast inside of you can, at times, be a very daunting task. It can be tough to control certain urges, particularly when Venom gets hungry. In Venom: Let There Be Carnage, Brock, together with Venom, will go head-to-head against some very powerful foes. The film's villains will be played by veteran actor Woody Harrelson, who needs no introduction, and starlet Naomi Harris, who you might remember from films such as Miami Vice, Skyfall, Spectre, and Black and Blue. Harrelson will play the character Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, and Harris will play the character Shriek. Other characters you can expect to see are Detective Mulligan, played by actor Stephen Graham, and Anne Weying, played by veteran actor Michelle Williams. Up next, we'll dive deeper into Venom: Let There Be Carnage and take a closer look at the film itself. When it comes to Venom 2018, comic book fans felt a bit let down. Some felt that there were story problems and other writing-related issues, but what really hooked in fans of the first film was the jaw-dropping visual effects and computer-generated imagery. Also, thanks to casting director John Popsidera, Venom 2018 was able to procure the raw acting talent of Tom Hardy, who is arguably one of the best leading men in the film industry today. And like many recent film productions in Hollywood, the latest Venom film's production schedule was hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic. Venom: Let There Be Carnage was just about to enter into the post-production phase when the state of California implemented a very strict lockdown. While sequels are generally not as well received as their originals, however, thanks to the trailer for Venom 2, many anticipate that the latest Venom film will be an exception to that general rule. Next up, if you're going to San Francisco, you're gonna meet some gentle people there. Or you could run into Venom. Without giving too much away and spoiling the entire film, we've decided to give you just a wee bit of information so that you can wet your beak. Some of the things you can expect to see in the film are beautiful establishing shots of the gorgeous city of San Francisco and its Bay Bridge. It was important to the filmmakers that it be known to audiences around the world that the latest Venom film, like the first, is very much a West Coast and San Francisco affair. Essentially, their rationale was to make the film the opposite of your stereotypical New York City superhero flick and add some uniqueness to the film. What you can expect to see in Venom: Let There Be Carnage is a bit of a shift in terms of Brock's relationship with Venom. As you'll likely notice in the upcoming sequel, the two have managed to come to some sort of agreement or understanding with respect to eating people. And while this may seem comical on its face, it's proof that Brock and Venom are learning to trust one another, and as a result, shows us a somewhat softer side of Venom. Up next, we'll take an in-depth look at the trailer for Venom 2 and dissect it. The trailer's opening scene is very telling, and much information can be deduced from it. The first thing we notice right away is that Brock's apartment looks like a serious biohazard. To put it bluntly, the place is a pigsty, and it's disgusting. There's trash and rodents everywhere, and we see Brock and Venom together trying to accomplish a very mundane and human task, making breakfast. Brock watches as Venom uses his tentacles to make breakfast, which is really just a cringe-worthy amalgam of ketchup, mushrooms, eggs, and waffles. A breakfast of champions, right? Well, not exactly. One thing that the trailer's initial scene does make abundantly clear to audiences is that Brock has clearly accepted his newfound life with Venom, but at the same time, finds it difficult to cope with. Next up, Venom There Will Be Carnage tries to address some of the plot issues of Venom 2018. According to some comic book fans, Venom 2018 had some story problems, and when it comes to any superhero-esque films, you can always count on the comic book fans of the world to unite and vilify filmmakers for failing to live up to the original stories of their favorite superheroes. One critique from fans regarding Venom 2018 is that writers failed to adequately capture the daily routine and relationship between Brock and Venom, and this is why Venom Let There Be Carnage takes us into Brock and Venom's daily routine and explores their incredibly bizarre and awkward relationship. After all, in the film industry, giving the fans what they want is what it's all about. The logic being that if you give them what they want, they'll keep coming back for more. Case in point, the ridiculously successful Fast and the Furious franchise films. The films are prime examples of what can happen when filmmakers keep giving fans what they want. Up next, we'll give you some secrets that you can look out for when you watch the Venom sequel. We all know that legendary comic book tycoon Stan Lee passed away some years ago, and as a result, it's not unusual for the filmmakers of Marvel films to want to pay homage or show respect to Mr. Lee. At times, this has come in the form of cameos. But in Venom Let There Be Carnage, the filmmakers have given us what is known in the industry as an Easter egg. Simply put, they are little hidden secrets. Sometimes they can even be inside jokes for the filmmakers or the cast and crew. As far as the Venom sequel's Easter egg is concerned, you can definitely spot it, but you'll have to be paying attention, otherwise you'll miss it. When Brock goes into Miss Chen's convenience store, pay close attention to the magazine stand near the counter. You'll notice that one of Venom's tentacles points at a magazine with the face of the man himself, Stan Lee, on the cover, as Brock walks by. Clearly, it's no accident, and is meant as a sign of respect for the man who started it all. Finally, we'll try to answer a question that we're certain is burning in the minds of comic book nerds around the globe. Will Sony's Venom universe merge with the Marvel comic universe? In other words, will we see Venom in films with other Marvel characters, such as the Avengers or, of course, Spider-Man? If you look very closely at the trailer for Venom Let There Be Carnage, you might just get your answer. You may notice an Easter egg in the form of a copy of the Daily Bugle, which, as you know, is a reference to Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man's local newspaper. Comic book geeks were also quick to point out that the Daily Bugle's logo itself is an exact replica of the Daily Bugle logo seen in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. And if you want to dive even deeper and search for additional evidence of a likely multiverse crossover, pay very close attention to the Daily Bugle scene. You might even have to pause the trailer to really see what we're talking about, because it happens so fast. As the character Detective Mulligan flips through a copy of the Daily Bugle, if you look on the page to the right, you can make out the letters ENGER and NIGHTM. Comic book fans might have pointed out that this is an obvious reference to the Avengers and Nightmare, so it's clear that Sony's paying attention and might be hinting at something to come. And of course, nothing would blow the minds of comic book fandoms like a Spider-Man and Venom film. It's something they've been craving for decades, and to be perfectly honest, we'd be standing in line for those tickets as well. Lastly, we'd like to say a very sincere thank you to the late, great Stan Lee. Thank you for listening and watching. Please click like and subscribe to our channel.